3,000 meters above sea level, on a saddle between two extinct volcanoes, a great male sits cross-legged on a bed of crushed bamboo, eating the soft white pith of a stalk. His back is silver, his arms are darker than the bark of the trees behind him. His infant son, hardly larger than a watermelon, is asleep against his thigh. He weighs nearly 200 kilograms. He is the most powerful land animal in this forest. And right now, he is being a father. He is a mountain gorilla. Gorilla, Virunga, one of the rarest large mammals on the planet. An adult male of his size and rank weighs between 180 and 210 kilograms, 3 times the weight of an adult man. His arm span exceeds 2.5 meters. His skull, behind that sagittal crest of bone, supports a bite force that no other primate approaches. He could, if he chose, crush a leopard's spine in a single bite. He never has. In nearly all observed lifetimes of silverbacks, what they have done with that power is something more interesting. They have used it almost entirely to defend. This is one rainy season, one family, one forest at the center of Africa. To understand the gorillas, you must first understand the forest. The Virunga is a chain of 8 extinct and active volcanoes, straddling the borders of Rwanda, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Some of the peaks rise above 4,000 meters. On their lower flanks lives the rarest forest of equatorial Africa, the Afromontane forest. Cool, perpetually moist, dense with bamboo lobelia and the enormous spreading hygieia trees. The temperature here drops below 10 degrees at night. Rainfall exceeds 2 meters a year. In a country famous for its savannas, this is an almost different planet. At the highest gorilla elevations, between 2,500 and 3,500 meters, the forest changes. The bamboo gives way to the hygieia hypericum zone. Hygieia trees are wide, low, twisted, with bark like wet rope. They are festooned with hanging moss and old man's beard lichen. Underneath them, in a thick herbaceous understory, the gorilla family feeds. Wild celery, gallium, thistles, stinging nettles, bamboo shoots in the lower zones. The pith of a dozen specific plants the family eats daily. A typical adult silverback eats more than 30 kilograms of vegetation each day. The Virunga gorilla population is small, approximately 500 individuals across the entire range. Another roughly 500 live in the Bwindi impenetrable forest in Uganda, often considered a separate population. Together, the global mountain gorilla population numbers slightly more than 1,000 animals. More than any other rare great ape, mountain gorillas have been studied individually. Researchers know each of them by name. In a population of 1,000 wild gorillas, perhaps 800 have a known life history. Their parents, their offspring, the families they have lived in, the silverbacks they have followed. The family at the center of our film consists of 13 members. One silverback, who is the dominant male, 2 younger blackback males in his lineage, 4 adult females, 3 of whom are his current mates, 1 juvenile female who will, in a few years, leave the family to join another group, 3 young juveniles of mixed sex, and 2 infants. One is the silverback son, 3 months old, the youngest member of the family. The other is a female infant of 9 months, riding her mother's back. Across these 13 individuals, the social architecture of the family is intricate, deeply observed, and constant. At the center is the silverback. His name, the name given by long-term researchers, is not important here. What is important is his role. He is decision maker, defender, peacekeeper, and father. He decides where the family feeds, when they rest, when they move. He resolves disputes between females. He plays with infants. He responds to threats with controlled displays of chest beating, mock charges, and if absolutely necessary, actual contact. But contact is rare. The display is almost always enough. The females in his family are not sisters to each other. In mountain gorillas, females leave the family they were born into when they reach maturity. Each adult female in this group came from a different birth family, joined this silverback at some point in her life, and has remained for as long as she has been satisfied with his protection. In gorilla society, the male holds the structure of the family, but the females hold the decision to stay. A silverback who fails his females, who cannot protect their infants, who cannot lead them to good feeding, will lose them. They will simply leave one day and join another silverback. The two blackbacks, males between 10 and 15 years old, have not yet developed silver hair on their backs. They are still in the silverback's family. They are subordinate. In a few years, one or both will leave. They will go alone, or with another young male, into a solitary or all-male wandering phase that may last years before they manage to attract their own first female. Some of them never do. The risk of leaving the natal family is real. The risk of staying too long is also real. A day in a mountain gorilla family follows a careful rhythm. At first light, the family rises from the nests they built the previous evening. They have not moved during the night. They began the morning where the night had left them. The silverback rises first. He yawns. He scratches. He moves a few meters, surveys the slope. Then, in his own time, he begins to feed. The rest of the family joins him as their own internal signals direct them. Within an hour, the entire family is feeding. Mountain gorillas are folivores. They eat leaves, stems, pith, and the occasional fruit, bark, or root. In the wet season, when fresh bamboo shoots are abundant in the lower forest, the family travels lower. In the dry season, they move higher into the Hygienia zone. In a single year, the family will use a home range of approximately 20 to 40 square kilometers. They do not migrate. They do not have a fixed territory. They are wanderers within a familiar country. By midday, the family is resting. They build day nest, temporary cushions of folded plants, and lie down in them. The silverback dozes. The females nurse infants. The juveniles play. In a single midday rest period, the family may stay in one clearing for 2 or 3 hours in a sprawl of 40 or 50 discarded plant stems. Soft snoring rising from beneath the silverback's massive arm. In the afternoon, they feed again. By dusk, the silverback chooses a slope. The family settles. Each individual gorilla, except infants who sleep with their mothers, builds their own night nest. A circular bed of folded ferns and bracken, 4 feet across, sometimes lined with leaves. It is a one-night construction. They will not return to it. By tomorrow, they will have moved on to a different patch of forest and built 13 new nests in a different location. The 2 infants in the family represent the family's future. The female infant, 9 months old, is at the stage where she is beginning to wander short distances away from her mother. She climbs on the silverback's back when he allows it, which is often. She eats the small soft leaves her mother offers her, but is still primarily nursing. The male infant, 3 months old, is still entirely his mother's. He cannot crawl. He cannot climb. He cannot regulate his temperature without her body heat. Watch how the silverback interacts with these young ones. His tolerance is extraordinary. The infants pull on his fur. They climb on his back. They lean against his shoulder during the midday rest. He has been known to allow them to bite his finger gently, with no response other than a slow exhalation. In mountain gorilla society, the silverback is the most important social hub for infants, other than their own mothers. An orphaned infant may be adopted and successfully raised by the silverback himself, sometimes carried on his belly through the family's daily movements. In the rainy season, the youngest infants are at risk. Pneumonia and parasitic infections take a small but real toll on the population each year. In a typical year, perhaps 1 in 5 infants under 1 year of age does not survive to their second year. The forest is generous, but it is not gentle. The mothers spend their nights huddling their infants against their chest fur, keeping them warm against the steady cold rain. The silverback, in some observed nights, has covered an infant with his own enormous palm. Once or twice in any family's year, a lone silverback approaches. He is a male who has left his own natal family. He has spent years alone, or in a small bachelor pair. Now, in his maturity, he is searching for females. The cleanest way to acquire females is to take them from another family. He approaches the family slowly. He moves through nearby slopes. He waits to see if any female will come to him. Our resident silverback knows he has arrived. His response is calibrated. He gathers his family closer. He puts himself between the intruder and the females. He begins a series of displays, chest beating, charging, snapping the smaller trees. If the intruder retreats, the displays end. If the intruder advances, they escalate. In nearly all cases, displays are sufficient. In a small number of cases, 2 silverbacks come to blows. and these are the most violent encounters in the species' social life. In our family's case, on this particular afternoon, the intruder retreats. He has read the situation correctly. The resident is at peak physical strength. His family is consolidated. The intruder will try again, perhaps in another season, perhaps not. He will spend the next 2 years wandering the slopes of the volcanoes, looking for a family with an older, weaker silverback who can be displaced. His patience may eventually be rewarded. Or it may not. Mountain gorillas, until recently, were one of the most endangered large mammals on Earth. In the 1,980 seconds, the entire population fell below 350 individuals. Poaching, civil war, habitat loss, and disease all contributed. The forest itself shrank as agricultural land pushed into the lower slopes of the volcanoes. In some years, it seemed the species might not last to the next decade. But then, against most predictions, the population began to grow. The recovery has been slow, painstaking, and built on a great deal of conservation work. Anti-poaching patrols, veterinary intervention for sick or injured animals, local community engagement that has given villages adjacent to the forest a stake in the gorilla survival. Today, the global population exceeds 1,000 animals, more than triple the low point of 40 years ago. The mountain gorilla remains rare, but it is one of the very few great apes whose population is currently growing rather than shrinking. It is, in conservation terms, a story of cautious hope. In the wet season twilight, our silverback rests his back against the trunk of a hagenia tree. His infant son sleeps on his chest. His mate dozes a few meters away. The rest of his family is bedded down on the slope around him. In a few minutes, the silverback himself will close his eyes. The forest will go quiet. The mist will pour in over the saddle from the higher peaks. And for the next 10 hours, this family will sleep where they have lain down, in nests they built in less than 5 minutes each, on a slope where no human has ever permanently lived. One forest. One silverback. 1,000 individuals in the entire world. On a saddle 3,000 meters above the sea. On a continent that has shaped them for 2 million years. This family will wake tomorrow in the rain and the cold mist. And they will feed, and they will play, and they will rest, and they will move on. The way mountain gorillas have moved on since long before any of us were thinking about them.